Hello, what's up? I'm Ashley D. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and leave your opinion. Well, today I'm going to get into a very touchy topic in regards to Kirk Franklin's son. Everybody seems to have an opinion, and to be honest, the opinion to me is not based on someone exposing a victim. It's more so on backing up Kirk Franklin. And people don't tend to think of the person as a liar. They say he's on drugs, he's on this, he's on that. But you have to ask yourself this question. What led up to this young man doing all these things? Sometimes a lot of people have been through trauma in their life and they get on drugs or they become alcoholics to cope and deal with the things that has happened to them in their past. And what really, really blew me back was the fact that Steve Harvey got up there and he had the nerve to say, you should be backing your father up. Shame on you. Out of all people, Steve Harvey, shame on you. You are the last one to speak, but yet want to be the first one to co-sign. You are the man who left his wife and his two daughters that nobody ever even knew about when they came aboard publicly on their own. You didn't acknowledge them. You divorced their mother. You barely wanted to pay her spousal support. You married your new wife and you didn't look back. And now your stepdaughter has took your last name and she owns the spotlight. So how dare you sit up and judge someone else's situation and dip your nose in it, and you don't even know the truth. You don't even know what's going on. You don't know what goes on in someone's household. And it's the same people that support him are the same ones that's backing up somebody that they don't know. And it's two sides to every story. Or should I say three? It's their side, and then it's your side, and then it's the truth that meets in the middle. So let's just get right to the point. Let's get to some facts. Kirk Franklin was 32 years old. He was born to Kirk Franklin and Sean Queen, his mother. So if they had this young man when he was 17 years old, that means that he was young. He was a young kid in a household with two parents that were teenagers, that were figuring out things for themselves. That wasn't very mature yet, but they had to be. In several interviews, Kirk Franklin said he wasn't ready to grow up yet. So add that on top of two more kids, bills and responsibilities. So there goes trauma right there. There goes neglect. And on top of that, when he reached the peak in his career, he was a teenager. So the distant relationship was already there with his father. And then when he finally became successful, this boy was already a teenager, mid on his way to becoming a young man. So he's already had father issues from the start that wasn't fixed. So now it has led on to his 20s to where his father is famous now and he really doesn't have time for him. He's on the road. He's remarried. He's had more kids. So slowly but for surely, his firstborn son is left behind with all that hurt, harbored guilt, anger, resentment, and maybe thinking why he's not good enough. And instead of people pulling him aside, instead of his father want to make things right with his son, he rather come on TV and make things right with everyone else. And yes, I can understand if you have someone in your family, a child or anyone that's been on drugs, that's been hurt, that is hard to communicate with. But at the same time, he could have stopped this before it got to where it went, if he wanted to, as a father. It just bothers me that so many black men in the industry don't mind when they first start off, they're there for their children. Along the way, as they divorce the mothers or they move on, there are so many black single boys that are left behind fatherless. Brian Knight, for example, allegedly. 50 Cent, for example, allegedly. And imagine these are the young boys that's brought up into our society that are being raised alone without their fathers, that are not taught how to be a man. And there's so many more that aren't famous. So why aren't we acknowledging the situation and getting down to the bottom of it instead of right away saying, oh, that's Kirk Franklin, he's famous, we have to back him up? No, what about the black little boy that's left behind? And so many other more that are looked past because these people are celebrities. We need to wake up and stop idolizing these men and hold them accountable for their actions. Kirk Franklin is a choir director. He preaches about love, what it really means to love. But yet his son never felt that from him. On top of that, his son has came out with an allegation saying that his father has sexually abused him. But everybody wants to dismiss that, say he's on drugs. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's trying to make his dad look bad. He just wants money. What about understanding what the problem is behind the drugs? What about actually having a normal conversation with him instead of trying to interview him and make him look like the bad cop? We know Kirk Franklin's side of the story. We know what he revealed to us. But at the end of the day, do we know his son's story? Do we know what's going on with the firstborn? What is Kyron's story? What is his truth? Or we'll just all add in there everybody's own opinion how he should be since his daddy is successful. So he should be a regular child. He's that way for a reason. He's apparently crying out for help. And whether we can turn a blind eye and say, oh, well, his mom even got on national TV and dismissed everything. Okay, look at it this way. How long has Kirk Franklin probably been paying his mom's rent? How long, maybe, allegedly, she could have possibly been receiving hush money? Have we even thought about that? And yes, these are some strong accusations that are being thrown out against him. But at the same time, we as the people, black, white, blue, whatever color, we need to stop for a second and wake up and look at things for what it is. And stop idolizing these people and these celebrities and hold them accountable like everyone else, just like for the stuff they do that's wrong. Yes, a few people have told their children, swore cuss words at them, said they wanted to do this and that to them. But at the same time, ask yourself this question. Why was Kirk Franklin's son holding back for so long and he finally let out his truth? Maybe that was his truth. He finally wanted us to see what he saw that was hidden for so long, who his father really was. Is this who Kirk Franklin really is behind closed doors? Verbally abusive, dismissive, talking down to his son? Maybe so. Maybe he wanted to take the veil off and let us see who he sees, who he saw for the past 32 years. So before we judge people, maybe we need to take a look and hold these people accountable for the things they say and the way they act. If you are a church person, you cannot be lukewarm. You cannot be half in and out of the church. That's why there's so much sexual predators, people getting molested, so much going on in the Catholic Church because we turn a blind eye to so many sick, twisted things. If you a pastor, you do not think like that. You do not have to swear like that and use your words like that. I know that for a fact. My father has never said a swear word to me, and he's a pastor. You can discipline your kids without using verbal words that are abusive or assaulting them. There's ways to get your point across in parenting, whether you're frustrated or not. And if you're held at that higher standard, you need to be held accountable for what you're saying. No, he's not the typical guy that's at the store that's chastising his son. No, he's a gospel singer who's made $1 million off of our backs. Several $1 million. Teaching and preaching the word of God. So if you are teaching and preaching the word of God, you should speak and teach the word of God into your son, into the love, into your message that you were trying to get across to him, whether it was hurt or pain. Just like you came on that talk show And you was passionate about covering yourself. You should have been passionate about say, look, son, we need to talk. We're not going to do this over a phone. Yes, as parents, we all get frustrated at times. But there's no way you, the man of God, should have got outside of yourself when you were speaking to your hurt, lost child who supposedly you say been struggling with drugs for years. I think it needs to be two sides to every story, and I think his side needs to be spoken out. I think everybody needs to hear what he has to say. At the end of the day, everybody has the freedom of speech and their own right to their own opinion. But if you're going to write somebody off, make sure you writing them off and you have all the facts and you know all the details and all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Because that's just another young black man that's out here that doesn't know who he is and who's lost. Who's admitted on a taping that his dad dismissed the therapy counseling. He stopped going. So if you really was trying to get your point across throughout all that screaming on the tape, you couldn't say anything about therapy. You said something about therapy after. Tonight, take the time out to yourself and to your family and to everyone else and hold yourself at a higher standard, just like we should hold everyone else in God's eye, the way God would want us to be. Don't always turn a blind eye to what's right in your face. See things for what it is and accept it, no matter who they are. This is Ashley D, Late Night Talk, signing off. Please leave your comment. Feel free to. And have a good, blessed night. Thank you.